A man walking down a road, notorious for being dangerous, ends up getting robbed and beaten so badly that he's lucky to be alive. Broken and bleeding, an individual comes across him, but ignores his pleas and passes by on the other side of the road. Another individual approaches, but again disregards the badly injured man. Finally, a third individual sees the man and offers to help, offering him care and aid to the nearby town. This might sound familiar. It's the parable of the Good Samaritan. Many of us remember this tale encouraging each person to love your neighbor as yourself. For those in long-term care, I believe you go above and beyond the parable's message of mercy. You don't come across individuals in need by happenstance. You seek them out. You don't just care and aid for a stranger. You become family to them. And as we've seen from certain other events over the past year, you don't just travel notorious roads. Every so often, you journey through things much worse, usually unexpected, and all too often tragic. Whether wildfires in California, tornadoes in Oklahoma, or more recently, floods in Colorado, time and time again, our caregivers have demonstrated an unsurpassed commitment to the safety and well-being of their residents, rushing toward danger, putting family and personal property second, camping out at their facilities, and aiding their fellow co-workers and local community members. These are no ordinary Good Samaritans. These are heroes. On April 17th, in the quiet town of West Texas, a fire broke out at the local fertilizer plant. And then a massive explosion. At least 15 people were killed, more than 160 people were injured, and more than 150 buildings were damaged or destroyed. One of them was the town's nursing center, West Rest Haven, just over 200 yards away. When the fire erupted, the facility began their evacuation plan just how they had practiced. But they weren't expecting the explosion. No one was. But everyone at Rest Haven reacted with the same thought at the forefront of their minds, their residents. Lola Mulholland was escorting two residents out with another employee when the blast occurred. She instinctively dove over them. Lola got hit in the head but wasn't seriously injured, so she jumped up to help everyone else. 23 miles away, Denise Day, another nurse at this facility, heard the blast from her house. She raced back to town into harm's way to help evacuate residents. The explosion completely destroyed the nursing center. Windows were shattered, doors were blown off their hinges, and ceilings crumbled. Staff literally had to dig into people's beds to see if anyone was there. Can you imagine? And with a foot of debris covering the floor, staff picked up residents still in their wheelchairs to carry them to safety. The heroics of all the staff members, including Lola and Denise, helped save all but one of the 130 residents at Rest Haven. These caregivers had been injured themselves. They had been miles away, and still their focus was to run toward danger to save the residents. Rest Haven is now in the process of rebuilding, and while the staff members are all dispersed, I have a feeling that soon they'll be together again. At NCAL, we recognize that in assisted living, it's a community. It brings unique individuals together. At Chelsea Senior Living, community is the obvious word that comes to mind. Nearly 1 year ago, the U.S. was hit with the largest Atlantic hurricane on record, the costliest next to Katrina, and the deadliest in 2012. Hurricane Sandy flooded streets, destroyed homes, and blew out power to hundreds of thousands, in the Northeast. In New York and New Jersey, the damage was profound. Fortunately, Chelsea Senior Living was lucky. There were no injuries and only minor structural damage, but many of Chelsea's staff members suffered significant loss. At Maple Point in Rockville Center, New York, the executive director, Tammy Marshall, stayed overnight to comfort residents. She also offered shelter to locals. By the time Tammy went home, she found she had no home left. Several employees lost their houses, while others lost most, if not all, of their possessions. Residents of the surrounding area were also displaced with nowhere to turn. This is where Chelsea exemplifies this idea of community. They offered housing in their facilities to employees and local residents who lost theirs. They collected furniture and household items to help those individuals make their new place feel like a home. One building even became a donation center, and they set up an employee relief fund to help the employees get back on their feet. Again, staff members were putting residents first, even as their own homes and possessions were being destroyed. But what made the caregivers at Chelsea heroes, and so many other long-term care providers that were impacted by Sandy, were their actions in the subsequent days, weeks, and months after the storm. With everyone coming together, residents, staff, and locals, they've shown they're a community through and through. To work in this profession is beyond measure, saint-like, but we all know that this is more than just a job. It's a calling. And in the face of adversity and tragedy, you answer the call unlike any other. We honor you and thank you, and this round of applause is for you.